Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today, as you can see, we're a little bit surrounded by water, and well, we're going to be starting the Seaopolis mod pack. So, I hope you guys are ready. I have this really suspicious feeling that a lot of you guys are going to absolutely love this mod pack, and the reason why is because it is filled with quests to the brim. I mean, filled with quests. Look at all these categories of quests. Yes, there's a lot of progression. And first things first, I mean, we should probably go ahead and start with that. Welcome to Seaopolis. Welcome to Seaopolis, a water-based questing mod pack. Awesome. So we get some kind of sea bucks for that. Read the quest. The quest will help you on your way to survival. Now, this is something I always have a problem with, is reading quests. I'm definitely going to try my best. We have kill quests. So kill quests only trigger on melee attack. Range attacks do not work. That's kind of good information to know. Then we have chapter challenges. Complete chapter challenges, or CC, will give you special rewards. That's also very important to know. FTB Ultimine, of course, I was about to click away without even reading. Allows you to basically mine multiple blocks. It is the ore excavator. Anyways, but yeah, it's basically that. I've used it several times. Really, really good mod. And then we have teams. If you by the way, this right here is if you are playing with like a friend on a server. Right here, you want to definitely read that. But yeah, this is all going to get us started. So a reminder, it says you have 2 blocks. Now this is really important. You have 2 blocks above sea level, which is safe. Anything above that is toxic air, which will poison you. There's some craziness going on around me right now. So that's good news to know. Like, we can still go up above our platform, but we can't go any taller than our actual character height. So like if we jump, I guess we'd probably take poison damage. Don't really know. Quest lines now have sub quest lines, so double check to make sure you've completed them all. That's gonna be fun. And then J to open up a full screen map. So we do have journey map installed, and C bucks can be used to buy items from the shop. So that's what we have completed here. Before we even touched a tree, we've completed all these things. So all of that is completed, and then this right here is that CC thing that it was saying, if you complete this, you do get a special reward. So, starting up, this is going to be very, very simple, but you definitely want to complete all the quests. Now, when we look around us, that's probably something we want to do. We notice that there's some stuff out here. Like, I'm noticing there's glow squid, which is kind of cool. That thing, I don't know exactly what that is, but there are some other structures and stuff that are around, which makes me believe that we're going to be able to explore a little bit later on down the road once you get past, I guess, today. But we also have a tree up top. We have a platform down below. We have a trap door that allows us to go into the water, which is kind of cool. Ooh, we can see that much clearer. There's something really cool over there. Don't know what it is, and I bet traveling to it would be quite dangerous. Even though there probably are ways to get over there early game. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I've only dabbled in this mod a little bit, kind of looking at how the progression was going to be, how the progression was going to be on us. And it seems really, really nice. So, first things first, let's chop a tree down. It's literally that simple. By the way, if you want to know what that Ultimine key is, it is the key that is underneath your escape key. I call it the grave key. Minecraft calls it the grave key, tilde key, whatever you want to call it. But it is that particular key. Notice I only got 1 sapling for that. Ooh, that's pushing it right there. Now, right away, because we only got 1 sapling, it is pretty, it's a pretty common practice to go ahead and make this. Actually, first, you have to make sure the planks are in your inventory after you craft them. So that way you can get these quests, all these quests that we're working on. We're making our way towards a wooden crook, and it does tell you here, it says use a crook to increase, or use a crook on leaves to increase the chance of apples from all leaves and to get silkworms. So we are going to need this to sort of progress, which is nice. And I believe it also boosts the chance for saplings. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but it definitely works for apples, because that is going to definitely be a thing that we need to do. So let's go ahead and use that on the leaves. And yes, we do get a bonus of saplings from what I can tell. That was 14 saplings from that 1 tree. So definitely use this. Now, getting started, it's exactly what you see here. We have to go through this progression line. I'm trying my best to go through it as quick as possible. so you guys can kind of get a grasp on things and we can start getting into some really fun stuff. Now, silkworms, you definitely want to place it on here. You can place all of them. It's not going to really make a huge difference. Grab your, make yourself another crook. And we're going to use this as soon as all these leaves are infested. We're going to use this crook on there and get ourselves a bunch of string. We're going to need that string later on. While that string is being produced, I guess I can go ahead and start working on something else. And that is going to be a wooden shear. And it's very simple. You just make yourself a wooden gear. Bam, you have yourself a shear. And we're going to use this to make dirt here in a minute. As you can see, it's all a part of this quest line. So instead of clicking all these manually, if you don't want to go through and read them, maybe you know and understand what this does, you can click this and it will give you all of them in one nice go. So here's our sea bucks building up. By the way, the sea bucks down here, if you're wondering what they're used for, there's some stuff, but it does seem like these have to be unlocked as we start to progress through. So there are different tiers and like the reset shop. Some of this stuff is really nice. The sea moth seems like a really nice investment. Also, the expansion of our base, which is using the building gadget with the copy paste gadget and all that stuff, seems like a really nice thing like to kind of get started with. Also a way to charge. I think one of these are the charging stations. So it's going to be pretty useful early on. By the way, crook. You also get a bunch more of the worms, which could be cooked down later on. Also apples can be cooked down later on in a furnace. And we also get a bunch of string, which is really important. But we're still after leaves. Let's go ahead and get through leaves, because from what I had seen in the crafting recipes for things, we use oak leaves to make vines, and those vines later on down the road are going to be used for our sieves. So we have to kind of progress though to get to that point. Recipe for the vines, pretty simple if I can go straight, and that's to make the vine right there. So as you can see, the vine quest is now complete. We now have all of these, and it says right here, used in some crafting recipes. Now that string can also be combined and you can make yourself some wool, so we can actually get ourselves a bed made like right away. All we need is a tiny bit of wood, slap that down, and we can get ourselves a bed that we can place, wherever, so long as, so we can just go ahead and sleep the night. Like I place it down here for right now. Now this area is going to be really important to us, so let me go ahead and show you some other crafting recipes. In our quest, it talks about driftwood and also bowls. And it tells us that we can get those, or at least the bowls. It doesn't really explain it very well, but it does tell us on the driftwood that we can drop this into water and it will convert into the driftwood. Now on the bowls, it doesn't really explain it all that well, but it does say you can fill this with water. Well, it's going to work pretty much similar to this. If we open this trapdoor up and we toss the wood in there, that is going to then be converted into that driftwood, so long as we can pick it up fast enough so it doesn't drop all the way down. So as you can see, we have that driftwood, and that can be also turned into planks, which is kind of a nice thing, and it will probably be used later on. Now the bowls, you might think, oh, I'm going to right click here. Nope, doesn't work. You have to toss it in, and then that will be converted into those items. So it's probably good just to stand here while you do that so you can make sure to pick up all the items. Now these are pretty useful because we can use this by drinking this. It now gives us 24 seconds worth of water breathing, and we could technically use that to swim up top. However, swimming up top is kind of scary. Notice there's a guy right there with TNT, and he wants to walk towards me. How about no? How about we not do that? All right, like I don't want to be up there. It does seem pretty scary. Now, nice tip. If you don't want this crafting table to just be setting around everywhere, I do recommend turning it into a crafting table on a stick. Now, I also have a problem with the crafting table on a stick from time to time where I don't use it. But in this case, it is probably a good idea. You can actually, utilize this thing and keep it kind of in the middle of your hotbar. It's kind of an easy, that's how I kind of like to mess with it. Just makes it easier to access. Now, I did also go ahead and make a chest so we can throw some things away that we don't really need to have in our inventory at the moment. Like these things right here. So I have one last thing in our current stage of quest to craft, and that is a fishing rod. And there we go. Now, fishing up there, you can do it. But like I said, there are things around you, and fishing is going to take a long time. You might be able to get away with breaking these blocks and trying to fish from this area. We're going to talk about fishing here in a little bit, but I think standing up there is probably going to be the better option. But like I said, it is dangerous. And once you get up there, you kind of need to just kind of make sure nothing's trying to move towards you. Now that we've completed starting up, we move into wooden tech. And this is not too difficult to progress through. It is really not. We're going to need to make some wooden hoppers, some sieves. We're going to use the wooden hoppers a lot, so make as many of these as you can early on. And wooden barrels. And I'm going to show you how you can pretty much automate dirt, like a dirt. I mean, I guess it already kind of tells you to do that with this wooden hopper right here, making a mini dirt factory. It is very simple. Let's go ahead and get started. So as I've been working on this, I've noticed like Nautilus shells just floating to the top. I don't know if stuff is like dying down here and like, so Nautilus shells are popping up, but Nautilus shells, yeah, like there's a Nautilus shell right there. They're actually really important because later on we can use them to make a conduit potentially, and conduits let you breathe underwater. So, I mean, and also attack mobs, which is pretty powerful. Like it's a really amazing vanilla mechanic. Like I said earlier, you're going to want to make a lot of hoppers because early on these hoppers are going to be very, very important. So I went ahead and just made more than it shows. Now the sieve, this right here does require, like I said, 3 hoppers. So we're kind of already ahead of the game, right? We've already made those hoppers, so we should be able to make this and get this thing jump started. And then we move forward into the quests after we complete that. Also, it does say these connect up to a 5x5, and I don't even think they have to be connected to work, just so long as they're within 5 blocks of each other. So yeah, you can do more than one. It is kind of helpful there. But barrels, these are going to be the bread and butter getting us started. So we just need to break our logs down into some slabs. I recommend taking all 6 of these that you get and making all 6 of them. You're not going to be hurting having 6 of these. Believe me, it's going to be nice. Right away, we can probably already get automation started. Place down 2 of them if you want. That 2 is fine. I mean, just kind of the more the merrier, right? And then get these posted down here. And then just take these hoppers, place them on top. It's that simple. All we got to do now is just toss a stack of leaves in here. I mean, maybe even tack a chest up top so you have like a significant amount of leaves you can toss in there. Hey, every little bit like works, right? And helps. So definitely do that. So you take a couple of chests, plop one here and here. These are only temporary, so don't to worry about them too much. But yeah, get some leaves flowing in there, and that is going to start generating some dirt. Now you can also do these by hand, so I do recommend, while you have some free time, go ahead and drop these in by hand. Kind of get you jump started on some extra dirt. And then while you're there, also place down your sieve and get ready to craft something else. Now we need to use these vines, so we need to take these shears. I went ahead and planted some vines, as you can see, and we're going to take this, pop this in, and we are going to make our first mesh, which is going to be this right here. Actually, we need a little bit more. Grab that. There we go. Now we can make our first mesh. And we are about ready to start sieving some dirt. As you can see, we now have some. Now, honestly, before I start fully sieving all this dirt, I kind of want to use it to expand our current platform. Now, at the moment, I don't have a pickaxe, so just making a regular pickaxe is probably going to be a good idea, so that way we can actually break some of this terracotta. And I think just breaking it in kind of a square pattern is going to get you plenty of space to grow more trees, like this right here. And then we build them, leaving the center, either fill the center or you can leave it, doesn't really matter. But you'll get more saplings the other way around. Yeah, now we have these blue terracotta. I mean, just save them. There's really not much you can do with them right now. Just kind of save them for later. Now, by the way, if you're getting tired of all these sounds you hear around you, you can use this muffler here, and you can go to recent, and you can find all of the recent sounds that have happened, and well, kind of stop them. If they're kind of getting too annoying. Like there's a dolphin ambient, hostile swim effect that you can probably mute. Like those noises, probably. I need to find the exact thing that is making, I think it's the thrasher that's making that noise. So yes, I have spent a little bit of time. That's why I have enough dirt. But yeah, this right here, I've went ahead and just kind of got myself situated just by farming a bit more wood so I can make more sieves. Now, I don't want to stand there and just farm on one sieve. So I went ahead and made more. And as you can see, we pretty much instantly complete that first achievement there, or first advancement. And we're getting all kinds of pebbles. Now, quick tip. This is a super tip. I don't even know if it's mentioned in the quest, is it? So you get all the pebbles, but I don't think it's mentioned here. Yeah, it doesn't even tell you here, which is kind of cool. And good that I can tell you, if you hit K while hovering over these, it's going to quickly craft these down into their blocks. So you just hover over the item and then hit the K key, and that is going to compress those blocks. Very, very, very handy little tool. Now, if you have a bunch in your inventory, let's say you have like half an inventory full of stone pebbles that are stacked, you can hold down Shift and hit K, and it will try to compress every stack of that individual item, which is another very helpful tool. And it's definitely going to be helpful when you're sieving stuff like this for a little bit. I mean, we're not going to be stuck on this for a long time, but for as long as we are stuck on it, we definitely want to be able to do that. Now, something else you're probably going to want to sieve is going to be leaves. I know it's a little bit weird, but these leaves are going to give you the different sapling types, which are definitely going to be helpful if you want to build later on. To get these saplings, all you got to do is just place them on the ground and break them. We're going to actually need them for the quest, so I'm going to go ahead and get them all done. And unlike other questing packs that I've played, this one does like pretty much require you to complete this section before moving on to the next one. So like if there's special items that need crafted, we're going to be working towards crafting them. Now, for sake of progression, it wants me to make a stone hammer, and a stone hammer is not bad at all. Literally like this, and we have ourselves a stone hammer, and we need to break a few of our stone that we get down into cobblestone. And there we go. We've reached the Stone Age. Very, very simple. And it says, it just basically is telling us to break those things. And then also it tells us to store 9 cobblestone. Well, to store 9 cobblestone, we can, of course, compress it down into a compressed variant. Very nice. So there's that. And we are going to need that in order to make this strainer base. And getting into the strainer base is going to start our production of sort of semi-automated resource gathering. Now, once we make ourselves a strainer base, we're also going to need to make ourselves the survivalist strainer, which is going to be more of the string. So grab some vines, grab some string, and we just need to make a mesh. And then that's going to get surrounded by sticks. And we are pretty much ready to go. Now, I'm going to recommend making probably more than one of these if you can. But early on, what you can do is you can go ahead and pop this open. Let's go ahead and take a piece of dirt for right now. Place it right about there. That's going to make this a little bit easier on us. And then we're going to use that pickaxe to break this. Don't really want to break the glass because glass is going to be hard to replace right now. So the terracotta, go ahead and break that. And then the best way is to have that water flowing like it is. And then to go ahead and place the strainer on that bottom block and then place your strainer on it. And that is going to actually start working. And this right here is going to start generating. Now, if you really want to and want to get your dirt back, you can go ahead and grab that back, and it's a lot cleaner looking. Now, I went ahead and made myself another strainer. Now, this is a fisherman's strainer, which is another thing. And as you can see over here, it talks about getting a worm. So we have a fisherman's strainer. It says place inside of a strainer just like anything else. But however, this does require bait. And we need to figure out, well, how do we get bait? No, that's pretty simple, right? Like, we could make this, like that's something later on, but we just convert it right here. Silkworm into worm. So all we have to do is place that mesh in there and then make sure we get our worms in there. Now, there is a bait pot. That is something that you can make later on, which is going to use fish in this. And that basically takes on the place of your worm. As you can see, it does have 128 uses where these are like single use here. So, I mean, you know, it depends on whenever you get some fish automated because, yeah, that's going to be a whole other thing. Now, one good thing, now that we have this hammer, we can kind of change how we compost things, right? We can actually use this to break the wood if we so desire. And then this should be able to compost, right? Yeah, we should be able to use wood to compost. But notice, I still think leaves are way better, but I know that this definitely has some uses. Now, cardboard. This thing right here. These cardboard boxes that you can make, which is also another quest, by the way. This, super nice. We can just slap it on a chest, break it, and say we want to move that chest over here, and then shift right click to get the box off. As you can see, our chest is there. So great way to move things around, and it can move a lot of stuff around. So keep that in mind. Like I think you can even, yeah, move these around if you absolutely wanted to. So while I was waiting for these, I wanted to test this out. Like, what if I broke the floor? Could I get dark oak to spawn in here? Yeah, definitely was able to get dark oak to spawn in here, which is great because I can crook this, get ourselves a lot more saplings, for the dark oak and actually utilize this. And I wonder if spruce should be able to grow in this pocket, because one of our challenges over here is to get every single type of wood. The only one that's going to be hard is going to be the jungle log. And well, it's not too difficult because you can actually make an axe. And if you chop the last block on the bottom, I'm going to show you here. If you actually break the bottom block, it chops the whole tree down. So there's a mod in here that's definitely doing that. So if I break this, and let's just go ahead and create ourselves a simple axe. We should be able to chop this entire tree down, even with a vanilla style axe. Eventually we will get into Tinker's Construct, but yeah, watch this. I think it's gonna work. Oh yeah, look at that. Just all of it, just right there. Perfect. Oh, look, there's another nautilus shell just laying about. By the way, if you're wondering how am I getting these to grow, just experiment with different heights of your dirt down here. And like, I've found that this height is perfect for the acacia log. Now it's not going to be the same for everything. Like everything is going to definitely have a different grow height. But I'm trying my best to get through all these saplings. Like I said, the only one that I'm kind of worried about is going to be the jungle. However, if I remember correctly, there is a small jungle variant that you can grow, but we'll just have to see how that works. So perfect. Yeah, I can harvest the jungle tree in here. It does actually grow. It just grows, like I said, a smaller variant of it, which works for me. So at this point, I definitely now have a lot of junk that has just started to accumulate over here. And, well, we need all this stuff. So you may be wondering, why do we have so many saddles? I'm going to show you here in a minute. Something that the quest doesn't really tell you too much about, but we can utilize these saddles for more leather and also some iron, which is kind of nice. I hope, yeah, we can use wooden shears, which is pretty nifty. And we can also get early access to some iron here. So to get rid of some of this, these saddles, I guess we can go ahead and make a cutting board, which looks like this. And then this cutting board, I guess, does an in-world interaction here. And we place this on it and then use the shears on it. Just simply right click, and that was pretty simple, right? To get this. Look at that. Just snip. We get ourselves quite a bit more leather, which is going to be useful down the road for books and other things. Since we've been completing all of our quests, might as well make ourselves a nice Seabuck coffee here, you know, just to satisfy our thirst. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have. How? Oh man, that was definitely a nice adrenaline boost. Oh my goodness. Now the water breathing potions is something nice that we can make. All it requires is those water bottles. This is going to help us hopefully with some exploration. However, there's some nasty stuff that does spawn, and well, we definitely want to be able to avoid them, like those guys right there. And we don't really have a good way to swim fast. So I definitely want to start working on expansion. And to do that, I'm going to have to break through here. And luckily we get some glass shards, which is kind of nice. That comes from the cork mod. But how am I going to clear the water? Well, luckily we got sponge, and we can also put sponge on a stick, which this stuff lasts definitely. I recommend doing this over this because this is going to be much nicer. But you notice it, like, we can remove it, but it's going to come back. So we do need to have a structure around this in order for it to not do that. And well, that means I have to step out into this and build. And I think that's kind of why we have that new potion recipe, which is going to grant us enough water breathing for us to be able to expand our base a little bit so we can get a mob farm going. So now that I sort of have this built out, I can now use this to pretty much clear it out. You have to be pretty quick. Like I can use the wand, or I could use like my actual sponge. You know what? I'm probably going to use the wand just so I can try and get in here pretty quickly. And I'm going to make more than one wand because they do dissipate very quickly. But notice I can get in here and hopefully get like huge chunks gone. I might have to go back to the regular sponge, but yeah, you can definitely see I'm slowly getting this cleared out, and we're getting ourselves a tunnel here. And the fact that it's grass makes it really, really nice. So let's get all the way back here. As you can see, bam. All right, so we now have this area cleared out. And by the way, we can take this sponge. If you do it this way, this sponge can be used later. We can just cook it up. However, I don't know if this will keep this working right. I'm gonna basically be buying a special egg that is gonna help us get mob spawning in here, and then we can make a sword. So let's go ahead and drop this stuff back in. We do need slabs because that's just basically gonna help us, you know, not die from these mobs. So let's go ahead and get the slab made. I think wood should be fine. I don't know if there's gonna be any crazy mobs spawning here, but we'll find out. I should be able to just slab it right here so we can stand underneath there. And it doesn't, I don't think it has to be like completely dark under here, but I am going to go ahead and add this. Now, let's go ahead and buy this egg. We should have enough items in the shop to get this rotten egg. It's going to cost us 30. So I submitted that. We got ourselves a rotten egg. This generates a 5x5 area of dreadful dirt. There we go. We have that dreadful dirt, and as you can see, hostile mobs are already spawning on it, and it doesn't care about these other mobs. Like, it will continue to spawn, and is honestly one of the better ways of going about this. If you want to get mobs anyways. I mean, if you're playing in peaceful, I think there's some other workarounds, but you're definitely going to want bone meal. Definitely once we get to the next section. So I just decided to do some fishing and to get our last major quest for our star here. I don't know what the reward is, but we can now go ahead and complete everything because I've done all of it. I've went ahead and made a compressed hammer. Also, gotten a little bit into tinkers by making these patterns. They're pretty simple, just sticks. And what's our reward? Okay, so we get some stuff here. Interesting. We got some chiseled factory blocks. We got a chisel station and some science blocks. Wait, chiseled. Oh, this is kind of like a chisel, old school chisel mod from back in 1.12. That's kind of cool. I like this. Well, guys, for a first starting episode, I hope I didn't go too fast. I wanted to kind of get through a lot of the early stuff so we can start diving into some of the more fun things that this pack I think has to offer. But definitely do want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, as I can't forget about that. And of course, the sponsor of today's video is going to go to Kobe Fields. Thank you so much for your amazing support over on Patreon. And guys, of course, if you're interested in becoming a Patreon yourself, of course, you can find that linked down in the description below. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Of course, if you did, be sure to slap that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also give this video a huge thumbs up. You can also find me live streaming over on twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect, and you can, of course, join my Discord. It is discord.gg/ChosenArchitect. You can, of course, find all of that linked down in the description below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, thanks for watching.